Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Stranger Days. And we've been waiting for this moment for a while. We've been waiting. It's been a big time coming, especially if you're in parts of the YouTube community. You've been waiting to see what the fuss is all about, whether or not it's going to be a grand old show. She-Ra! Released on Netflix the other day. Hold on, one more time. She-Ra! And the lame Princesses of Power, if you were to look at the audience review scores. And that's kind of where we find ourselves with this particular story. She-Ra came out with this promotional image. I'm showing you guys one more time just to annoy you. This non-definitive, very detail lacking version. Can't quite tell. Is it a girl? Is it a boy? Is it a Ken doll? Who knows? But it's She-Ra. And the show was one that opened up this. I think just earlier this week it came out. People have been talking about it, right? The SJWs are definitely they're liking it as they tend to do. But a lot of other people are just not happy with it at all. A lot of other people think that it's crap. In fact, the She-Ra here is hated by the viewers, but critics and SJWs rushed to defend the show. And let's be fair, that was going to happen one way or the other, given the pushback against the original look of the animation when it first came out. I mean, my video on it did really well. A lot of other people's videos on She-Ra did really well. And so, yeah, there's going to be pushback on it, which means that the NPCs are going to sit there and they're going to be programmed to all do the same thing, to all say the same thing in regards to pushing back against the audience score. Now, the article says here, the divide between what people actually enjoy and what leftist orthodoxy is trying to force people to enjoy has become ever so apparent with the release of She-Ra and the Princess of Power on Netflix. The cartoon reboot of the popular 1980 spin-off of He-Man managed a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, while barely scoring 40% from normal viewers. And you can look and see here that it's got 100% off of just 9 reviewers. 9 reviewers gave it 100%. Just 9. All right. What's another word for 9? It's German for no, because that's bullshit. We all know it. Take a look here. 40% liked it. 196 user reviews. Now, here's the deal. It's literally double the amount, or like 20 times the amount of people who reviewed it, critics who reviewed it, versus people who did that. Now, we don't know in regards to the audience score. I'm just being fair here. This is fair. We don't know how many people actually watched it versus how many of those gave it a 1 star, right? We don't know, which might be why there was a bit of pushback on this. That is something that does make a fair amount of sense, and that's true. But at the same time, it's the response to that number where we find it things to be the most interesting. Now, if you click through and read the critics' reviews, you see a bunch of familiar outlets: IGN, The Daily Dot, Mary Sue, Den of Geek, Entertainment Weekly. But Vivian Kane of the Mary Sue made it known that the show was designed from the ground up by its lesbian creative director for the Tumblr crowd, right? Writing, if you watched the trailer and were hoping that the show would be full of female empowerment, body positivity, racial diversity, and queer representation, you're in luck. This is 100% the She-Ra of your Tumblr dreams. In all the best ways, the show is made for fanfic and cosplay, and the cosplay is going to rule so hard. This upcoming year marks the 50th anniversary of Comic-Con. I fear for the cosplay. If a show is made for trying to sell merch, I understand that. Honestly, I mean, Transformers was a cartoon show made to sell merch, right? To sell toys. He-Man sold a lot of toys back in the day. Turtles sold a lot of toys back in the day. I'm not against a show being made in order to sell a product. It's part of the thing. But the Tumblr crowd and cosplay, there's no money in that. There's no money in cosplay for the most part, right? There's really not. And Halloween already passed, so they screwed up the opportunity to sell cheap knockoffs. Anyway, she says here that at least 2 of the princesses are presented as being in a romantic relationship, but there's a ton of inclusive, queer-loving coding. What? Okay, anyway. Especially between Catradora and Adora. They revel in friends to enemies to lovers trope. I mean, the lovers part may not be explicitly presented in their case, but it's not denied either. There's even an episode titled Princess Prom that features a dance sequence and a gorgeous magenta tuxedo, after which I honestly don't understand how anyone could not be on team Catradora. Why are you sexualizing a kid show? That's my question. Why are you sexualizing a kid show? That's the thing. When you ship them like that and you want them in a relationship, you want them to scissor me timbers. You want that. That's what you're there. That's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for a little bit of that pelvis thumping. Or I just really watched the wrong erotic movies. But the point I'm trying to say here is why? Why do you want to sexualize a kid's show? Why are you on board? Again, you're not explicitly talking about that, but you might as well be. That's kind of what's happening here. Now it says the show joins a litany of other shows that try to induce parents to allow their kids to see heroes turning away from traditional values in order to succumb to the liberal agenda, one in which there is no future for your children. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, look, I like this website a lot, but even that is just, dude, come on, man. It's not trying to induce there's nothing wrong with having discussions about different genders and sexualities. I mean, clearly I don't want it in like a kid show, right? But I feel like the Connors was doing it pretty well in their last season and how they touched upon it. I mean, this is the world we live in, and trying to push it from a conservative slant is just like, I think, the stupidest thing, because that's not talking about where things are. That's pushing back against an agenda with another agenda and ideology. When two ideologies collide like that, nothing of value ever gets done. Realize that nuanced discussions have to happen, and that's my only, again, I love this website, but I just feel like that you can see the conservatism come through, and I just want to push back on that a little bit. Now, anyway, while Entertainment Weekly's Darren Freniche tries to convince parents that the show is safe for kids, the propaganda was too much for Freniche to ignore, gloating about writing She-Ra's safe for kids show that never gets around to explicit romance. But Stevenson and her collaborators take the fundamental glitter camp style as an opportunity to fit some impressively complicated emotions into the undercurrents of the Adora-Catra relationship. Undercurrents, hell, there's a pivotal moment where Adora dances with Catra, a heroine in a magenta fuchsia dress, villainous rocking sangria-colored tuxedo with an unwrapped bow tie, club lights around them, blasting a particular Bowie shade of pink, and then Catra dips Adora. Wow! Okay, again, why don't sexualize a show, and then also don't sit there and claim that the show is going to teach your kids to be gay and induce them with a neoliberal agenda that's gonna, turn the kids gay. It's just, Jesus, it's one or the other. It's both sides are stupid. Yes, the show probably has an agenda. They've made that abundantly clear. That agenda is not working out well with the audience, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes. Now, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing with this. We will never truly know how it's looked at because Netflix will never give us the full data. They will never give us the full data because that's what they do. But there are people out there that can gauge the social media response to this. She-Ra opened up a couple days ago, midweek release, which I think is very weird for Netflix since usually most things are on a Friday. And you figure a cartoon show would be opening on a Friday in order to get kids to power their way through it over the weekend. That is, unless they realized that they wanted to put it out midweek in order to get the outrage in the early part of the week. So then parents who come home and let their kids watch Netflix on the weekends don't see it. I have no idea. That could be a tactic. But the thing is, Netflix is very, very, very keenly aware of the politics of the show. I don't mind a creator's politics. There are many creators out there whose politics I vehemently disagree with on both sides of the political spectrum. But if they can keep that away from what they put in there in an over-the-top narrative, then I'm usually okay with it. But the problem here is that I haven't seen the episode where Catra and Adora do the dip. All right, I plan on watching it sometime soon. I just haven't got around to it yet. So I can't tell you one way or another whether or not this is like completely brimming with lesbianism, right? I don't know. But it does feel like what you have here are people who don't, that are trying to so desperately capitalize on this moment. They're trying to turn this moment into the key LGBTQ 2+ whatever moment in this show to make it something that gays and lesbians can then flock to, right? And I understand that. Like, there are shows that have been able to develop that kind of fan base. I don't care if these characters are gay. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I don't care if they're gay, if they're straight. It has no fundamental impact on me as a person. At the same time, the only thing I don't want is people trying to sexualize a kid's show. I just don't want that. Again, one of the biggest reasons why I'm not a fan of hentai is I feel hentai sexualizes young people, and I'm just not a fan of that at all. Not going to get in that full debate with everything, but still, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And so I look at a show like this and I'm like, look, if the characters are good and the stories are good, the rest is just kind of like it's secondary, right? But the problem with it is, and this is going to happen on both sides, is SJWs, we're talking the horseshoe theory of SJWs now. It's no longer right or left. It's literally just like SJW, horseshoe, both sides are guilty of the same crap. Don't even try to tell me otherwise because you can't. It's true. We are in the world now where that is true. Both sides are going to use this as ammunition against each other. And guess what's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing is going to happen besides pedantic shit flinging and a lot of crying on social media. And we don't need that. We don't need that. All right. We don't need more of that. That's only going to just cause more division. What we need is there to be an actual discussion about the show. The problem with it is, though, is that, and I'm going to, again, criticize the left here probably more than the right, is the left is going to use this as a way to, they have bigger platforms, right? They do. They have bigger platforms, and they're not about having that actual discussion. They're not about that at all. They're about just trying to find ways to hammer home their ideological point. The creator of this show is also very much aligned with them, and that's going to be something that is probably going to be worse for them in the long run than helpful. Because what we've learned about these types of people, these types of left-leaning SJWs, is that they don't actually purchase the content that they want here, right? That they go for. They don't purchase the content they complain about. Now, granted, many of them probably get their Netflix accounts from their parents, so they're going to watch for free, so they're not technically paying for anything. But at the same time, if they're trying to push merch and cosplay, they're not going to go buy any of that stuff. And Netflix is now understanding that merchandise sales are actually a big part of their business, right? Stranger Things, by the way, is like their number one merch selling item. So that's kind of where it's at with that. Anyway, the show clearly is not being treated well by the audience who's watched it. And as a result of that, people are furious and trying to double down on the wrong thing to sell people on it, right? Instead of going, this is a good show that's well written with good characters, it's, hey guys, lesbianism. And that's not going to fly even in 2018. You're not going to turn heads. You're not going to win over minds from your opponents, from your critics, from the other side by hammering them with things that they're already rallying against in the first place. So I don't know. I'll check it out and I'll review it over on $3 Reviews. Who knows when that will be though, but that should be soon because it's not that long of a first season. So anyway, curious to your thoughts on this one. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me on this? Are you going to watch it? Are you not going to watch it? Let me know. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been Stranger Days. Be sure to type in She-Ra in the chat if you made it so I know. Support the channel by thumbsing it up, subscribing. You can always consider becoming a patron. $1 per month helps out quite a bit. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day and peace out.